know that there is a drop tower that predates the Tower of Terror? And you know what's really wild? That drop tower was set to debut a few years after Disneyland Paris' April 12, 1992 opening. Now, you may be wondering, what is the significance of Disneyland Paris' opening date? So, thinking back, Hollywood Studios' Tower of Terror did not open until July 2nd, 1994, which is 2 years after Disneyland Paris opened their gates. However, this is when things get a little strange. I find it really odd that Disney would go out on a limb and begin gambling on a second drop tower attraction even before knowing if the Tower of Terror would be a successful attraction due to Disney's reputation for creating family-friendly rides like It's a Small World, Snow White, and the Teacups, not just top-tier throwing roller coasters. But what's really wild is that construction plans for Geyser Tower dated back to 1980, which was 4 years before the Tower of Terror began construction. And it begs the question, was Tower of Terror and Geyser Tower in parallel development? Meaning that the Tower of Terror and the Geyser Tower were being imagined at the same time? There are similar structures and blueprints further strengthen this theory. The only difference being is that Tower of Terror show scenes are right here, and as you go up the elevators, you go up from the back, then move to the front. Matter of fact, the only difference with the Geyser Tower is that the positioning of the show scenes. So instead of going from the back to front, you go from the front to back of the Geyser Tower, which is the biggest and most notable difference. And it does continue to beg the question: why was the Geyser Tower holding so much secrecy? What perplexes me the most is why was Disney so quiet and so secretive about Geyser Tower, even if both towers were hypothetically opening on the same day or within the same decade. However, when it came to Tower of Terror, there was Tower of Terror merchandise, billboards, advertisements just about anywhere, even before Tower of Terror was finished being constructed. But yet, when it comes to Geyser Tower, we barely get a cohesive or comprehensive blueprint. Instead, we get a bunch of scraps and shards of a gigantic drop tower, probably 13-story drop tower mystery, which does not really sit well with me, given my enthusiasm towards the Tower of Terror. And why would Disney decide to go out of their way to construct something before the Tower of Terror? Not construction, but to conceptualize something that predates the Tower of Terror, only to be like, never mind, we're going to scrap that and only focus on the Tower of Terror. It's actually really wild to think that the Tower of Terror was initially going to have a Frontier precursor located in Geyser Mountain, which is Disneyland Paris' version of Frontierland. Now, you may be wondering, what did the Imagineers actually have planned for this Tower of Terror inspired attraction? No, wait, back up the monorail. For this attraction that probably inspired the development of Tower of Terror, which is a whole nother can of worms. So, going back to Geyser Tower, as you may know, the Geyser Tower was supposed to be situated next to oh my gosh, the Phantom Manor, which is Disneyland Paris' version of the Haunted Mansion. Because of Geyser Mountain's proximity to the Phantom Manor, I begin to wonder if both of these attraction storylines were supposed to intertwine. And when you think about it, it actually starts to make a lot of sense, given that the Phantom Manor is about a bride-to-be named Melanie Aaronwood, sorry if I butchered her name, who finds herself stuck in her abandoned manor after her father literally sabotaged and ruined her wedding to the point where her suitors and the guests became ghosts. But yet, when you look at the parallels between the Tower of Terror story and the Manor story, it begins to make a lot of sense. Because for the Tower of Terror, basically what happened is that 5 ghosts got stuck inside of an elevator that was stricken by lightning, then crossed over into the Twilight Zone, which I find very paranormal. Same with what happened to Milani in the Manor. But what really intrigues me is the concept that the Tower of Terror and the Geyser Tower might have shared a very similar concept in terms of narration, and especially the aspect where an elevator shaft got haunted. One being a haunted hotel, the other being a haunted mine shaft, where both paranormal forces end up jinxing the entire structure, and therefore deeming the structures very haunted. So that's just my speculative take of what the Geyser Mountain Tower, I can't speak today, the Geyser Mountain might be like in terms of storyline and plotline. So I'm really curious what your takes are, and if you have a story or a theory, please be sure to leave it in the comments below. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe if you enjoy Tower of Terror, trivia, tidbits, and history, and we will see you in the next video. Woo!